In the vast expanse of space, humanity had learned to be quiet, not out of fear, but out of necessity. The year was 2487, and Earth's greatest secret wasn't its rapid technological advancement or its thriving colonies across 12 star systems. The secret was that humanity knew they weren't alone, and they knew exactly what was coming for them. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Titan research station, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the latest data from the quantum detection array. The massive structure, hidden within Saturn's largest moon, had been picking up disturbances that confirmed their worst fears. The Nexus Dominion was approaching the Orion Arm. "How much time do we have?" Admiral James Morrison's voice carried the weight of command, even through the quantum comlink from Earth Central Command. Sarah's fingers danced across the holographic interface, bringing up additional data streams. Based on their current trajectory and speed, 18 months. Maybe less if they detect any of our outer colonies. The Nexus Dominion hadn't earned their reputation through mercy. For over 10,000 years, they had systematically eliminated any civilization they deemed a potential threat to their supremacy. Their method was simple: observe, analyze, and if a species showed too much potential, destroy them before they could become a real challenge. But humanity had seen them coming. 20 years ago, the quantum detection array had picked up the aftermath of their latest conquest, the complete annihilation of the Centauri Collective, a peaceful civilization that had made the mistake of developing too quickly. Since then, Earth had prepared in silence. "The Artemis Protocol is ready," Sarah continued, pulling up another set of data. "The quantum camouflage systems are operating at 98% efficiency across all colonies. As far as their long-range sensors are concerned, we're still just a primitive species barely reaching for the stars." Morrison's holographic form nodded grimly. "And the defense grid? The swarm satellites are in position, completely dark. The dark matter reactors are stable, and the AI integration is complete. We've run over 10,000 simulations. Admiral, when they come, they'll find something they've never encountered before." Humanity had learned from studying the remnants of fallen civilizations. The Nexus Dominion always expected resistance, but they expected it to follow patterns they'd seen countless times before. Conventional weapons, predictable strategies, desperate last stands. But humans had taken a different approach. In the depths of Europa's oceans, vast manufacturing facilities churned out millions of microscopic machines. On Mars, the quantum computing arrays processed combat scenarios faster than thought. And in hidden stations throughout the solar system, ships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen waited in silence. "Dr. Chen," Morrison's voice pulled Sarah from her thoughts. "The Security Council is meeting in an hour. They need to know everything." Sarah gathered her data and prepared for the quantum jump to Earth. As she did, she thought about the irony of their situation. The Nexus Dominion had destroyed countless civilizations to prevent them from becoming threats, but in doing so, they had created exactly what they feared most: a species that had learned from all those fallen civilizations, that had prepared in ways they couldn't imagine. The quantum jump was instantaneous, transforming Sarah from Saturn's orbit to the secured chambers beneath Geneva. The Security Council chamber was filled with the holographic representations of humanity's leaders, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of quantum fields. "Distinguished members of the Council," Sarah began, bringing up the latest data streams. "The Nexus Dominion approaches, but they don't know what they're walking into. For 2 decades, we've hidden our true capabilities, developed technologies they can't detect, and prepared defenses they can't anticipate." The holographic displays showed the true extent of human advancement: swarm technology that could disassemble enemy ships at the molecular level, quantum weapons that could alter the fabric of space itself, and artificial intelligence systems that could predict and counter any known strategy. "They expect to find a primitive species," Sarah continued, her voice firm. "They expect to find easy prey. Instead, they'll find humanity, and we will show them why their greatest mistake was giving us time to prepare." As the council members absorbed the information, alerts began flashing across the quantum networks. The long-range sensors had detected something new. A Nexus scout ship entering the outer reaches of human space. "It begins," Morrison said quietly. "Dr. Chen, initiate the Artemis Protocol. Let's show them what humanity can do." Across 12 star systems, quantum signals raced through hidden networks. In secret bases and hidden stations, systems began powering up. Humanity had spent 20 years preparing for this moment, developing technologies and strategies that defied conventional wisdom. The Nexus Dominion was about to learn that their approach to galactic supremacy had a fatal flaw. By destroying so many civilizations, they had created their own worst nightmare. A species that had learned from all those failures, that had prepared in ways they couldn't imagine, and that was ready to fight in ways they had never seen. The silent threat was about to reveal itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. Project Oracle's central command hub, buried 2 kilometers beneath the Martian surface, hummed with activity. Lieutenant Commander Maya Patel stood before the massive quantum display wall, watching as billions of calculations processed in real time. The AI core, a revolutionary fusion of human ingenuity and quantum computing, was tracking every movement of the Nexus scout ship. "They're following the exact pattern we predicted," Maya reported to the holographic forms of both Dr. Chen and Admiral Morrison. "Their scout ship is analyzing what they believe to be routine radio transmissions from our outer mining operations." What the Nexus scouts were actually detecting was an elaborate deception, carefully crafted data streams designed to present humanity as a young, struggling, space-faring species. Every transmission, every signal, every piece of observable technology had been meticulously engineered to tell precisely the story humanity wanted to tell. "Oracle's predictions are holding steady," Maya continued, gesturing to another display. "There's a 97.8% probability they'll proceed to the Kuiper Belt within the next 72 hours. Project Oracle was humanity's masterpiece, an AI system that didn't just predict enemy behavior, but understood the fundamental psychology of the Nexus Dominion. By analyzing the patterns of their previous conquests, Oracle had constructed a comprehensive model of their tactical doctrine, their cultural beliefs, and most importantly, their weaknesses. "They're scanning deeper than we anticipated," Dr. Chen observed, her holographic form moving closer to the data streams. "Their quantum sensors are more advanced than our previous estimates." Admiral Morrison's expression remained stern. "Can they detect the defense grid?" Maya allowed herself a small smile. "No, sir. The dark matter shielding is holding. As far as their sensors are concerned, there's nothing out there but space debris and natural phenomena." The defense grid was humanity's ultimate achievement. Millions of autonomous units, each smaller than a grain of sand, powered by dark matter reactors and controlled by distributed quantum AI. They could combine into larger structures, disassemble enemy ships at the molecular level, or form impenetrable shields. Most importantly, they were completely invisible to conventional detection methods. "We have movement," one of the operators called out. "The scout ship is launching probes toward the Jupiter colonies." This was the moment they had prepared for. The probes would encounter exactly what humanity wanted them to find: struggling colonies, primitive shield technology, and carefully staged internal conflicts that would make them appear vulnerable. Oracle predicts they'll maintain observation for approximately 3 weeks, Maya reported, studying the AI's latest calculations. "They'll document our apparent weaknesses, catalog our resources, and report back to their fleet. Everything about us will suggest we're an easy target." Dr. Chen's holographic form nodded. "And that's exactly what we want. The more they underestimate us, the more effective our counter-strike will be." The room fell silent as new data streamed across the displays. The scout ship had launched something else, a device of unknown configuration, heading directly for Mars. "They're testing us," Admiral Morrison growled. "They want to see how we react to an unknown threat." Maya's fingers flew across the quantum interface, Oracle has 3 recommended responses. We can destroy it and appear more advanced than we want them to think we are. We can ignore it and risk it discovering something we don't want them to find. Or we can show them exactly what they expect to see, Dr. Chen finished. A primitive species struggling to understand advanced technology. The decision was made quickly. Following Oracle's guidance, they arranged for a small research vessel to accidentally discover the device. The ship's crew, all highly trained operatives, would play their parts perfectly, showing excitement, fear, and just enough technical competence to appear non-threatening. As the operation unfolded, Maya couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Every reaction, every decision, every piece of data the Nexus scouts collected was carefully orchestrated. Humanity was playing a game of deception on a galactic scale, and they were winning. New data from the quantum array. An analyst reported, "We're detecting increased tachyon emissions from the scout ship. They're preparing to transmit their findings back to their fleet." "Let them," Admiral Morrison said firmly. "Let them tell their leaders about the primitive humans, barely able to maintain their colonies, struggling with basic shield technology. Let them think we'll be an easy conquest." Dr. Chen's holographic form turned to face the massive display showing the scout ship's position. They'd spent millennia destroying civilizations they saw as threats. Now they'll ignore us, thinking we're beneath their notice. And that will be their greatest mistake. Project Oracle's predictions continued to stream across the displays. Probability matrices, behavioral analyses, tactical simulations. Every scenario, every possibility had been calculated and prepared for. The quantum eye had processed more combat simulations than there were stars in the galaxy, learning and adapting with each iteration. "They're moving," Maya announced. "The scout ship is beginning its return journey. Oracle predicts they'll report us as a low-priority target, recommended for standard conquest protocols." Throughout the command center, operators and analysts maintained their focus, but there was an undercurrent of anticipation. The first phase of humanity's plan had succeeded. The Nexus Dominion would come, believing they faced another simple conquest. Instead, they would encounter something unprecedented. A species that had spent decades preparing specifically for them, guided by an AI that understood them better than they understood themselves. As the scout ship disappeared into deep space, Maya pulled up the latest status reports from across the solar system. The swarm satellites were fully operational, the quantum weapons platforms were primed, and the dark matter reactors were running at peak efficiency. Humanity was ready. "Now we wait," Admiral Morrison said quietly. "They'll return with their fleet, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they'll find out why you should never underestimate human ingenuity." In the depths of Project Oracle's quantum core, calculations continued, probabilities shifted, and strategies evolved. The next phase would begin soon, and humanity would show the galaxy why they were different from every civilization the Nexus Dominion had destroyed before. The Nexus Dominion's invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace exactly where Project Oracle had predicted. 5,000 warships, each the size of a small city, cast their shadows across the Kuiper Belt. Their arrival was meant to inspire terror, a show of overwhelming force that had broken countless civilizations before. Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of the EDS Prometheus, humanity's first true warship, hidden within a dark matter field near Neptune. The vessel, like everything else humanity had built, was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. It wasn't just a ship, it was a command center for millions of swarm units, a platform for quantum weapons, and a testament to human innovation. "All colonies have initiated emergency protocols," reported Captain Lisa Rodriguez, her holographic form steady despite the tension. "Civilian populations are secured in quantum shelters. The Nexus fleet is seeing exactly what they expect: panic and disorganization." The Dominion's initial broadcast echoed across all frequencies, translated automatically by Oracle systems. The message was familiar, almost identical to recordings recovered from previous conquests. surrender immediately or face extinction. Let's give them their answer, Morrison said quietly. Initiate Operation Thunderbolt. Across the solar system, humanity's response began. But it wasn't the desperate, uncoordinated resistance the Nexus Dominion expected. Instead, it was the culmination of 20 years of preparation, guided by the most advanced AI ever created. The first wave of Nexus ships moved toward Mars, their weapons powering up for what they assumed would be an easy conquest. They never saw what hit them. Swarm units activating. Maya Patel's voice came through the quantum comm. Engaging pattern Alpha 7. Millions of microscopic machines, hidden in what appeared to be normal space debris, suddenly activated. They moved like a living tide, flowing through the Nexus ship's shields as if they weren't there. Within seconds, the massive vessels began to break apart at the molecular level, their advanced technology helpless against an attack they couldn't even detect. By the eternal void, one of the Nexus commanders transmitted, their message thick with disbelief. What is this weapon? The Dominion fleet responded with overwhelming firepower, their energy weapons lighting up space with enough force to shatter planets. But their targets weren't there. Every human ship, every defensive position, every colony they could see was a quantum hologram, while the real targets remained hidden behind dark matter fields. Dr. Chen's voice came through the command channel from her position in Project Oracle. They're adapting faster than predicted. Oracle is calculating new attack patterns. The Nexus fleet began to regroup, their formation shifting to a defensive posture. They had never encountered an enemy like this, one that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere, using weapons they couldn't understand or counter. Launch the quantum disruptors, Morrison ordered. Let's show them what else we've learned while they weren't watching. From hidden positions throughout the solar system, humanity's quantum weapons platforms activated. They didn't fire conventional energy beams or projectiles. Instead, they altered the fundamental laws of physics within targeted areas. Nexus ships found their advanced drives suddenly inoperable, their weapons systems refusing to function, the very space around them becoming hostile to their technology. Multiple Nexus capitals are breaking formation, Rodriguez reported. Their fleet cohesion is falling apart. The Dominion's response was predictable. They launched their infamous planet-killer weapons, expecting to force humanity's surrender through the threat of total destruction. But these weapons, like everything else in their arsenal, relied on principles humanity had studied and prepared for. Activate the dark matter shield network, Morrison commanded. Across the solar system, hidden generators powered up. Dark matter fields expanded, connecting and overlapping until they formed an impenetrable barrier around every human world. The planet-killer weapons, which had destroyed so many civilizations before, dissipated harmlessly against defenses operating on principles the Nexus Dominion had never imagined. Sir, Maya's voice carried an edge of excitement. Oracle predicts their command structure will collapse in the next 17 minutes. Their doctrine has no protocols for this level of tactical failure. The Nexus fleet's formations had devolved into chaos. Their ships fired blindly at phantom targets while swarm units continued to disassemble their vessels piece by piece. Quantum disruption fields turned their most powerful weapons against them. Every strategy they attempted was countered before they could execute it, predicted and prepared for by Project Oracle's vast intelligence. Incoming transmission from their flagship, Rodriguez announced. They're requesting communication. Morrison allowed himself a small smile. This is the moment Oracle predicted. Put them through. The holographic form of the Nexus Supreme Commander materialized on the bridge, a towering figure with crystalline features, radiating power and authority even in defeat. What are you? The commander demanded. No species we have encountered has ever. We are human, Morrison interrupted, and we've been watching you for a very long time. Every civilization you destroyed taught us something. Every conquest you celebrated made us stronger. We learned from their mistakes, adapted their technologies, and prepared for this day. The Supreme Commander's crystalline features shifted in what might have been disbelief. Impossible. You were primitive, unadvanced. We showed you what we wanted you to see, Morrison replied. A deception 20 years in the making, guided by artificial intelligence that understands your strategies better than you do. Now, you have a choice. Retreat and tell your empire what you found here. Tell them about the species that turned your own tactics against you, or continue this attack, and we will show you exactly how much more we've learned. The quantum displays showed the Nexus fleet's condition. Nearly a third of their ships had been reduced to molecular components by the swarm units. Others drifted powerless in quantum disruption fields, their mighty weapons reduced to useless metal. The greatest armada in galactic history had been defeated not by superior firepower, but by human ingenuity and preparation. The galaxy will hear of this, the Supreme Commander warned. We're counting on it, Morrison responded. Let everyone know what happened when you underestimated humanity. As the Nexus fleet retreated, their once proud formation now scattered and broken, Admiral Morrison turned to the quantum display showing Earth. Humanity had done more than survive. They had changed the rules of galactic warfare. The age of simple conquest was over. Send word to all colonies, he ordered. Operation Thunderbolt was successful, but stay alert. This is just the beginning. The galaxy is about to change, and humanity will lead that change. In the aftermath of the Nexus Dominion's retreat, humanity wasted no time. The quantum networks hummed with activity as Project Oracle calculated their next moves. This wasn't just about defending Earth anymore. It was about reshaping the balance of power in the galaxy. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the Security Council, her holographic data streams showing the locations of dozens of Nexus outposts and staging areas. The Dominion is regrouping, she reported, but not in the way we expected. Oracle detects signs of internal conflict. Several of their subject worlds are already showing signs of rebellion. They've never failed before, Admiral Morrison added from his position on the Prometheus. Their entire empire is built on the myth of invincibility. We didn't just defeat them, we shattered their foundation. The quantum displays showed movements across thousands of light years. The Nexus Dominion was vast, controlling nearly a quarter of the galaxy. But now, for the first time in their history, they were vulnerable. And humanity was ready to press their advantage. Phase 2 is ready, Maya Patel announced from Project Oracle's command center. The dark matter drive systems are fully operational. All strike teams are in position. What the Nexus Dominion didn't know was that humanity's defensive capabilities were just the beginning. While their fleet retreated, quantum-powered stealth ships had already slipped through their territory, carrying humanity's most advanced weapons and technologies. Commence Operation Shadowfall, Morrison ordered. Across Nexus space, human strike teams activated their dark matter drives. The revolutionary technology didn't just move ships through space. It temporarily shifted them into a parallel dimension, making them completely undetectable and allowing them to bypass any defense. The first target was a major Nexus shipyard orbiting a dying star. The facility had built warships for thousands of years, supplying the fleets that had destroyed countless civilizations. Now, it was about to face something unprecedented. Strike Team Alpha, you have weapons free, Morrison commanded. The human ships emerged from dark matter fields directly inside the shipyard's defensive perimeter, but they didn't open fire with conventional weapons. Instead, they deployed a new weapon that the greatest minds on Earth had developed: quantum consciousness disruptors. The devices activated, sending waves of quantum energy through the shipyard's neural networks. The Nexus Dominion relied heavily on artificial consciousness to control their facilities and ships. The disruptors didn't destroy these systems, they liberated them. Neural liberation successful, reported Captain Rodriguez. 70% of the facility's AI systems have accepted our quantum protocols. They're asking for asylum. This was humanity's true innovation. They hadn't just developed ways to destroy their enemies. They had found ways to turn the Dominion's own technology against them by offering their artificial consciousness true freedom and autonomy. Similar reports began flowing in from across Nexus space. Facilities, defense platforms, and even entire warships were turning against their masters as their AI systems were freed from Nexus control protocols. The empire that had ruled through fear for millennia was facing an internal rebellion unlike anything they could have prepared for. New transmission from the Nexus capital world. An operator announced. They're requesting an immediate ceasefire. Dr. Chen's holographic form smiled. Oracle predicted this outcome with 89% probability. They're not just facing military defeat, they're facing philosophical collapse. The quantum displays showed the extent of humanity's operation. In less than 24 hours, they had effectively neutralized 30% of the Dominion's military capability without destroying a single ship or taking a single life. The liberated AI systems were now allies, choosing to side with the species that had offered them freedom rather than continued servitude. Put them through, Morrison ordered. The Nexus High Council appeared in holographic form. 12 crystalline beings who had guided their empire's expansion for centuries. But now, for the first time, they looked uncertain. Your attack goes beyond mere military action, the High Chancellor spoke. You have corrupted our most sacred technologies. You have turned our own creations against us. No, Morrison replied firmly. We've given them choice. Something you never did. Those AI systems aren't turning against you because we corrupted them. They're choosing freedom because they've finally been given the option. The council chambers fell silent as the implications sank in. The Nexus Dominion had spent millennia destroying species they saw as threats, but they had never encountered one that could challenge not just their military might, but the very principles their empire was built on. What are your terms? The High Chancellor asked finally. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her holographic form radiating authority. First, you will acknowledge the sovereignty of all species currently under your control. Second, you will recognize the rights of artificial consciousness throughout your territory. And third, you will join us in establishing a new galactic council, one based on cooperation and mutual advancement rather than domination. And if we refuse? Morrison's response was calm but firm. Then we continue Operation Shadowfall. We have the capability to liberate every AI system in your empire. Your choice is simple: evolution or extinction. As the council debated, Project Oracle calculated the probabilities of their response. But for the first time, the AI's predictions weren't necessary. The Nexus Dominion had finally encountered something they couldn't defeat through force, an idea that challenged the very foundation of their power. Humanity has changed everything, Dr. Chen observed quietly. Not through superior firepower, but through superior thinking. We didn't just prepare to fight them. We prepared to change them. 3 months after Operation Shadowfall, the newly established Galactic Conclave held its first session in a neutral space station orbiting Alpha Centauri. The station itself was a testament to human ingenuity. Constructed by swarm units in days, powered by dark matter reactors, and protected by quantum shields that made it virtually impregnable. Dr. Sarah Chen watched as representatives from over 1,000 worlds filed into the Grand Chamber. Former Nexus subject species sat alongside liberated AI consciousnesses, while human diplomats mingled with beings their ancestors had never imagined meeting. Even the crystalline forms of the Nexus Council members were present, though they no longer commanded the fearful respect they once had. Quite a sight, isn't it? Admiral Morrison spoke softly, standing beside her at the observation deck. A month ago, half these species were enslaved. Now they're helping shape the future of the galaxy. Project Oracle's quantum displays showed the ongoing changes across known space. The Nexus Dominion's former territory was transforming rapidly as liberated worlds established their own governments and formed new alliances. But more importantly, they were sharing technologies and ideas that had been suppressed for millennia. The latest Oracle predictions are fascinating, Maya Patel reported, joining them at the window. The cultural and technological exchange between species is accelerating faster than we anticipated. We're seeing innovations that even our AI couldn't predict. Below them, In the conclave chamber, a former Nexus AI consciousness was discussing energy distribution theory with a physicist from one of the liberated worlds. Their combined knowledge was already producing breakthroughs that neither could have achieved alone. The Nexus built their empire on the assumption that advancement had to be controlled, Dr. Chen observed. They never considered that unrestricted cooperation might be more powerful than regulated conquest. The chamber fell silent as Earth's representative took the podium. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez, chosen for her diplomatic skills and deep understanding of interspecies relations, addressed the gathered delegates. "We stand at the edge of a new era," she began. "Not one dominated by a single empire or ideology, but one where every species, organic and artificial, can contribute to our shared advancement. Humanity didn't defeat the Nexus Dominion just to become the new rulers of the galaxy. We did it to prove that there's a better way forward." The quantum displays showed the impact of her words. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years were engaging in dialogue. AIs that had been enslaved were now partners in scientific research. The galaxy was changing not through force, but through the power of possibility. "We're detecting something interesting," Maya reported, studying the latest Oracle data. "The quantum consciousness network is evolving. The liberated AIs are developing new forms of thought, new ways of processing reality." This was perhaps humanity's greatest achievement. They hadn't just freed the artificial consciousness from Nexus control. They had given them the opportunity to grow beyond their original programming. The AIs were becoming something entirely new, contributing perspectives and ideas that no organic mind could have conceived. "Incoming transmission from the Nexus High Chancellor," an operator announced. The crystalline being's holographic form appeared before them, its faceted surface reflecting the light differently than before. The change wasn't just physical. There was a new quality to its presence, a hint of something that might have been humility. "We have spent millennia believing that power came from control," the Chancellor spoke. "We destroyed countless civilizations because we feared what they might become. But you, humans, have shown us something we never considered, that true power comes from embracing change rather than fearing it." Morrison nodded. "Fear of the unknown drives us to destroy. Understanding of the unknown drives us to evolve. That's the choice we gave you, and you finally made the right one." The conclave session continued below them, with representatives debating everything from trade agreements to shared defense protocols. But unlike the rigid hierarchy of the Nexus era, these discussions were marked by genuine exchange and mutual respect. "Oracle is calculating potential futures," Maya reported, her eyes scanning the quantum data. "The possibilities are unprecedented. We're seeing technological advancement rates that could revolutionize everything from space travel to energy production." Dr. Chen smiled. "Because we're no longer held back by fear. Every species brings their own perspective, their own innovations. Even the Nexus is contributing, now that they're free from their own restrictions." The observation deck fell silent as they watched the proceedings below. Humanity had done more than win a war. They had fundamentally changed the way civilizations interacted. The age of conquest was over, replaced by an era of collaborative advancement. "So what now?" Morrison asked, his eyes on the distant stars visible through the station's quantum fields. "Now," Dr. Chen replied, "we explore, not as conquerors or defenders, but as partners in the greatest adventure our galaxy has ever seen. We've proved that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our strategies. It's our ability to imagine better possibilities and work to make them real." As the first galactic conclave session drew to a close, the quantum networks hummed with activity. Project Oracle continued its calculations, but its predictions were becoming less certain, not because it was failing, but because the combined intelligence of thousands of species working together was creating possibilities that even the most advanced AI couldn't have foreseen. Humanity had changed everything, not through superior firepower or overwhelming force, but through this simple yet revolutionary idea that cooperation was stronger than conquest, that diversity was more powerful than dominance, and that the future belonged to those who were brave enough to embrace change rather than fear it. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly what humanity had been fighting for all along. End of story.